Oh, hello. I'm Francis Seeley from Enfield Voices and GlobalNet 21. And what we're going to do in this interview today is look at the Palmer's Green Festival, which is taking place on Sunday in Broomfield Park for most of the afternoon and a lot of the evening. And a couple of days ago, we interviewed Maria Ankupova, who was one of the people who first had the idea about having a speaker's corner at the festival, which seems a strange thing maybe to have, but we were doing it and it looks as if it's going to be really good. And she came up with the idea with Sof Yiannakas. And he's here with us today. And what I thought is I'd go through with him the idea behind Speaker's Corner, and then also talk about all the sessions we're having in Speaker's Corner, so you know about it, and we can give it some sort of publicity so that you can think about preparing questions, come into the sessions you're interested in, and moving on from there. Anyhow, thank you very much for joining us, Sof. And tell me, first of all, why were you originally interested in the festival? Why did you approach the festival people?
Well, thanks for having me, Francis. It's a great platform to also promote the festival, so I appreciate that as well. Why did we participate in the festival? So we live locally in the area, and we've actually attended the festival, which has been going on now for 11 years. We've been for the last couple of years as guests of the festival, and we really enjoyed it. And we thought, wouldn't it be a great way of really giving back and volunteering to help build the festival into something even bigger and better, and it already is a fantastic event for the community. And this is Maria and I's first year of participating in the festival, and we've really been embraced by the existing organisers, Philip and Carl, who've been doing this for many years. And we just wanted to give back to the community.
Okay, so you've known about the festival, you've been involved in it for several years, and suddenly both of you came up with this novel idea of a speaker's corner in the festival. Why and how do you think it fits in with the festival idea?
Yeah. So again, when we joined the committee, Philip and Carl said to us, well, if you have ideas on how to improve the festival, we're open to your suggestion. And Maria and I were really inspired by, it was a Sunday's paper event that we saw at another festival that we attended. We thought, wouldn't that be a fantastic idea to bring a similar concept to Palmer's Green Festival, where we can have a range of sessions, debates. The festival is fantastic for food and music and drink, where people can grab something, sit down and be educated, be challenged, and really participate in the community discussion. But this was really the premise of Speaker's Corner.
So when we have the Speaker's Corner, what do you hope about it? What's your aspirations? What do you think we'll get out of it?
I'll probably give a similar message to Maria earlier in the week, but for us, it's really an opportunity for people who live in the area, who are interested about the issues which are affecting our local area, to come and get involved with our community. What we think is very impressive, and we'll learn in a second, we have an incredible lineup of people, many of which are local, who are participating, and this is a great opportunity for you to meet these people face to face, ask them questions, learn from them, and if we can just give some access to people who live in the area, to the people who are attending, would be fantastic. And then to the extent that we can build on Speaker's Corner beyond the festival, so that maybe there's more of a running conversation through the year, that would be the ultimate outcome.
Okay, so the event, Speaker's Corner, starts at 12:30, and I'm going to, with Carl Brown, introduce that on the day and just set the scene about what we're doing there on the day, on the platform that we've got set up. And then we actually start with the first session. So maybe we can go through the sessions now,
Yep.
Sof. And the first session, yes, is on mental health and well-being.
Yep, that's right. We have a counsellor, Yasmin Brett, who will be leading the discussion on well-being in our community.
Yeah, and what she wants to do is look at mindfulness, I gather, as well. And so she's involving one person who's an admin for Enfield Voices, Rupert Price, who's been involved in mindfulness projects. And I think she's arranging to do something with him. So it should be a good session with a focus on mental health, which is a real problem. A look at mindfulness, and then a chance for people in the audience to ask questions. And that goes on from 12:40 until 1:10. And then at 1:10, we have poetry in the community, don't we? So would you like to tell us about how you think that's going to develop?
Well, so this is actually a very interesting session within Speaker's Corner, because it will be hosted by Mary Dugan, who is a local, renowned poet in our area, and this is a very good example of collaboration within the community, because when we announced we were launching Speaker's Corner, Mary approached us directly and said, this is something I'd love to be involved with, and she will be running this session. I think we're going to have 8 different poets performing from 1:10 to about 1:45. And actually Mary will be reading a poem about the suffragettes in Palmer's Green, which is very timely, considering earlier this year we had a plaque unveiled on the Palmer's Green Triangle to commemorate, which was the spot where a group of suffragettes actually gathered 100 years ago, which obviously led to women being granted the vote later in the year. So very timely as well. And Mary's obviously very active in the community. She runs workshops for children and families, and performs at other festivals around the region as well.
Yeah, I mean, Mary is very well known in the community, and the thing that she did at Oldhamans Hill, remembering the suffragettes, was very well attended and very successful, and quite full of spark as well. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. But then we're doing something which is rather different next, aren't we? We're actually going to have a debate, and it's an intergenerational debate. Now, what do we mean, Sof, by an intergenerational debate?
Well, I think the best way to learn would be to turn up on the day and hear the debate in action. But this will be a slightly different format to the rest of Speaker's Corner, where we will have a formal motion, and we have 2 people debating whether the tension between the millennial generation and the older generation is real or not, and what are the challenges and the solutions to those issues. And we have 4 people participating, 2 on each side, and actually 2 of them again are very local people. We have Jean, who chairs the Ruth Winston Centre, and we also have Jonah, who again actually works in Starfish Loves Coffee on Alderman's Hill, and again, considering the quality of avocado on toast in that establishment, I think he can be classified as a millennial. But they'll be debating both sides of the argument on the day. Yeah,
well, a debate between the millennials and the baby boomers should be quite fun. We've also involved in that the Debaters Club, the London Greater Debaters Club, which Tony Kasumas runs, and he's going to run this debate for us. He's going to set it up and share it and see it through, because he knows a great deal about debating techniques and debating skills, and I'm really pleased he's agreed to come in with us on that. And then after we've done the debate, we're going to have something that's going to be nice and gentle. We're going to meet our MP. Well, it may not be gentle, we'll see. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, no, we're obviously very excited to have Bambas Charalambous attending Speaker's Corner, and obviously meeting your MP is within your democratic right, and obviously anyone in the constituency can meet their MP if they book a session. I think it's every Wednesday. But actually, this is meant to be more of an informal setting. A great opportunity for people who live in the area to come meet Bambas face to face. Ask him questions, challenge him, listen to him at the festival. So I think very excited to have him attend.
Yeah, I saw Bambas the other day, and he said, I don't really want to make a speech. I just want to answer questions. I want to engage with the audience. So I'll start it off with a couple of questions, and then we'll take as many questions as we can from the audience in the 40 minutes we've got for that. So if people have got questions, prepare them, and bring them along with you, and that will be great. And then we move from politics to something different, don't we? Healing through art therapy, Sof.
Absolutely. And another example of how Speaker's Corner is bringing people in from the local community to contribute to the festival. We were approached by Patrick Samuel, who is a very talented local artist who suffers from Asperger's syndrome. And the premise of his discussion is how art and creativity has allowed him to deal with his condition. And he obviously has a very interesting background, and we'll be sharing that with the audience at that time.
Okay, so I mean, that will be interesting because it will be slightly different. And I think one of the great things about the festival is it's not all politics, it's culture as well. And we try to sort of balance. Do you think that balance is really important to do?
Oh, absolutely. I think it has to be, the idea behind Speaker's Corner is to have something for everyone. We're not expecting anyone really to sit there through every single session, but hopefully you'll treat the agenda as a menu, and you'll dip in and out during the course of the festival while exploring all the many other things that are happening in the course of the day. And I think this will be a very interesting session. And Patrick will also have a stall within the festival where he will be doing some live drawing even, and you can also see his work, which will be presented at the festival.
Yeah, so that should be great fun to look at that. One of the things that's been talked about a lot on Enfield Voices and on some of the other social networks is the decline of the high street. Lots of people are really worried about shops closing up and there not being enough variety out there. So we're going to do a session, aren't we, at 3:45 on high street regeneration. Who have we got involved in that?
Claire Richmond is going to lead this discussion. She has also a very interesting background. She lived in Crouch End, and she noticed, I think, from as early as 2007 that there was something happening on the high street, and something was changing. And she took it upon herself to really create a community of entrepreneurs in Crouch End, where they tried to address this issue. And they obviously did some small things, like change closing times to make it more convenient for people who work in order to shop. They also introduced more experiences, treasure hunts, and a range of different activities in order to keep the Crouch End High Street alive. And I think the purpose of this session is really to think about what lessons can we learn within our community of how to keep the High Street very vibrant, given the changes that are happening in the landscape.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing about Claire is she worked with the community, not with developers. I mean, I'm sure she worked with developers and talked to them, but she involved the community, and there was a lot of community feedback. And it'd be well worth listening to Claire, because a little while ago, a year or so ago, we did an hour-long webinar where Claire talked about what she did in Crouch End. So I think, its relevance to our own areas in Enfield, I think, is very high. So I think people will be really interested in that. Now, we move from high street regeneration to something which is almost related to it, and that is having friendlier neighbourhoods and having better streets. We've got Claire Rogers there, haven't we, Sof?
That we do, exactly. And you're right, it absolutely builds on the same theme of high street regeneration, but also having friendlier neighbourhoods and safer streets. And we have so I'm actually quite curious in terms of what the discussion will be, and I think that'll be something for everyone to really enjoy.
Well, we have Claire Rogers in that, and Claire has been campaigning for a long time for better streets. I mean, she was one of the first people in the road she lives in, I think, to set up a street party. I think she had quite a bit of opposition there, which she overcame, and I think it was very successful. And then she moved to looking at better streets, and I think she's actually running the whole day there, a sort of Cycle Enfield project where people can come in and can ride bikes, and they can learn how to ride, and they can find out how they can get involved in learning further. And she's going to take 35 minutes off of that, come across with a colleague of hers and tell us a bit about how you do build friendly neighborhoods and have better streets. And I'm sure people will have a lot of questions on that.
Absolutely.
Because over the years it's been quite controversial.
Yeah.
And then in terms of friendlier streets and Sof,
Yes.
I suppose leading on from that is the whole area of community safety. We've seen that in Enfield, there's been a lot of concern about the youth of gang violence and youth crime and so on. And so we're going to do a whole session, aren't we, on community safety. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Well, absolutely. So it's obviously a very pressing issue. We're very lucky to have Joan McCartney, who's the Deputy Mayor of London, who will be leading that discussion. And I think she will identify, how big is the scale of the problem, and what can be done to really solve it. So that's going to be very interesting and clearly very relevant for anyone in the neighbourhood.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping. She says she's going to try and bring someone from the police with her as well, so we'll have two people there. I've yet to get confirmation on that, but I hope she does. I mean, it should be a great debate because we're holding a House of Commons meeting in October as well on the same topic, and we've got Vicky Foxcroft, who is the head of the Youth Commission in Parliament, and she has been arguing very strongly for the Glasgow experiment, which has a public health rather than a punitive approach to community safety. And she's been very critical of the mayor for not moving fast enough on that. And I'm sure Joanne will probably disagree with that. So it would be interesting to see if we ask her questions on that, how we're moving towards that. So that should be quite a sort of interesting and compelling subject for everyone. And then at 6:20 we have our final item of the day, don't we, which is on inclusive education.
Yeah, we also missed the Meet the Councillors, which was just before this session, actually.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm losing count. We at 4:50 we have Meet the Councillors, don't we?
Yeah. So actually, again, it will be hosted by Clive Coleman, which again is a local resident from Palmer's Green, and he has very kindly agreed to host this session. He's an award-winning journalist. He presented for 6 years on the BBC, on Panorama, Radio 4. He writes for the Times and the Guardian, and he's obviously still a legal correspondent for the BBC. And he'll be hosting 3 of our local chancellors, Dina Barry, Edward Smith, and Ahmed Akina. And this is an opportunity really for the public also to meet your councillors directly, ask questions, challenge them, and we have asked for questions to be submitted via the website palmersgreenfestival.org.uk or via social media, so hashtag Palmer's Green Festival, in order for Clive to ask those questions to our councillors directly on the day.
Okay, and if we can do that, that would be really good. And obviously, some people will ask from the audience as well. And you mentioned the 3 councillors. I'll mention them again. Ahmed Oitner, who is a councillor for Palmer's Green. He's a Labour councillor. Dinah Barry, who is a Labour councillor for Winchmore Hill. And Edward Smith, who is a Conservative councillor, I think, for Oakwood. And so we've got 3 councillors. And I'm sure they won't get into a party sort of free-for-all. It'll be about the role of the councillor, what the councillor can do to engage with the community rather than to battle with each other. And I hope to turn out that way. So that should be good. And okay, I did jump the gun and say, right, we have our last session, and I missed that out. I'm sorry. But we now do come to our last session, don't we?
Yeah.
Which is about inclusive education. So
That's right. And there we'll be joined by Barbara Ball, who's a former teacher. She used to teach deaf children, and she actually established Ascend, which was in response to the decline of specialist services in schools. And she'll be discussing the state of the education system and whether it really is inclusive to all students. And so it should be a very interesting session as well.
Yeah, so that's Barbara, but we also have Jane Hassami there, who used to be a head of a department at the school, very much involved and a very much great champion of state education, though she has some criticism of whether it's inclusive enough because so many people do drop out, so many people are excluded. And we've also got Emma Jordan, who is going to talk about what happens with those who are excluded? How do we make our system in totality more inclusive? And she's very much a homeschooler. I mean, we're hoping it will not be a debate about state versus homeschooling, but how we can deal with the problem of the fact that so many people now, not just for behavioral reasons, but also because, they haven't got a good enough grades very often, are excluded from the state system. And how do we deal with that? Because it is a major problem that's worrying many people. So I hope, that will be really, really good. And then we conclude at about 7:10. Is that right, Sof?
Yeah, around 7 o'clock, 7:10, and which is also the time that the entire festival closes. So it will be an action-packed day, lots going on, and hopefully everyone finds something of interest that they can participate. And also, we are encouraging the public to ask questions and really participate in the discussion. We will have roaming mics also available on the day, so please don't be shy and get involved.
Roaming might sound a bit robotic, but so people will be able to ask questions, will be able to hear them, and that will be great. So I hope people will turn up for that, and they will take part and come to whichever sessions that they think are appropriate. And I'm sure we'll have a lot of drop-in audience, people who come in because they see what's happening and they wonder what the hell is going on there, and so they look in and see. Okay, so that's all pretty exciting, and it's a great pilot and experiment to do. Now, how do you think that, will it end just there? Or are you hoping, Sof, that there will be follow-up from that afterwards?
Yeah, I think our ambition is really to follow the pulse of the community, and if this is an initiative that people enjoy on the day, and if it receives positive feedback, and there will be something that we will build on, and I think the embrace, how the community embraces the concept, it will determine the success of the program going forward.
Okay, well, one of the reasons I'm involved with this is that, Philip and Carl asked me to be involved because we were doing this sort of thing in Enfield Voices, because we do interviews like this now every week, and we may do it more frequently, and we have been going out reporting about ward forums and council meetings and interviews with councillors and other people in the community, both text and video and audio. And so, for us to be involved in this, it's a right synergy. It's what we do anyhow. So I was very pleased that we could be involved in it. And I'm hoping that, when it's over, we can talk with you and we can see how we can combine our energies and make it even more energetic in the coming year. And I guess that would be your objective too.
Absolutely. I think that's right. You've been a big help, Francis, in also setting up many of the topics. And hopefully we'll make it as good as it can be, and look to build on this through the year and also into the following year's festival as well.
I don't know if I've ever heard of a Speaker's Corner in any other festival or anything. Have you heard of it? To me, it's sort of quite a unique thing to do.
Yeah, no, the only thing that we have seen is a Sunday's paper discussion. But this is, I think this is relatively unique and hopefully brings something different to the festival as well. But hopefully it'll be enjoyable to our guests on the
day. The great thing about a festival is really that it combines art and culture and food and entertainment with politics, and everything comes together. It's about the totality of a community, isn't it?
That's right. And actually this year is probably going to be the broadest lineup of activities and events that we've had, which is the way it should be. Every year we try to improve the festival in some way, and I think this year we're very excited by the lineup. Speaker's Corner. We have a wide range of music. We have the bandstand. We've got the gazebo. If you like to listen to jazz on the day, we have a dedicated area. We have pop-up acts where local performers who will be involved. We have lots of community groups who will have stalls. Please feel free to approach them and have a discussion. And Speaker's Corner is obviously very important in this debate as well. And hopefully it will be a big success. And all the details are available on the website. And I think there's so much going on. You almost need to spend a bit of time looking at the website, where we also have a very good map where you can find where everything will be on the day.
Okay, well, I'll put a link to the website up on Enfield Voices and share it with Enfield Matters and Love Your Doorstep and all the others, because all the social networks are important and they're all doing really great jobs. So, to involve them all is really valuable. Just as to let people know, Sof, exactly where in Broomfield Park will the Speaker's Corner be?
Absolutely. So, to those who know Broomfield Park, the easiest way to find it would be it's directly next to the cafe, which is just in between the two lakes. We have the boating lake at the top next to Alderman's Hill. At the bottom of the boating lake, there's the cafe, and then directly next to it will be Speaker's Corner. And if you can just think in terms of that is next to the other lakes as well. And again, the best way to find it would really be to look at the map as well on the website. Hopefully it'll be very clear. We will have some, hopefully also stand out. We have a yellow gazebo and we have some flags as well. So hopefully it shouldn't be too hard to find.
Yeah, I haven't seen the layout yet, so I'm going to be intrigued. The first time I see it is when I hit it on Sunday morning, and we are sort of doing the preparatory work. So it should go okay. I hope it will go smoothly. I mean, one of the big problems, isn't it, is keeping everyone to time. I mean, that's going to be a big job for us, I would guess, Sof.
Absolutely, Maria, who you interviewed earlier in the week, has the job of meeting our guests before their session starts and guiding them to the stage on time. It's a big challenge, but I guess it comes with the territory, and we're just very grateful to have such a great lineup of people, often who are locals in the community who contribute this year. So that is a challenge, an operational challenge, and one that we'll have to tackle on the day.
And also, just in case anything goes wrong or someone falls under the proverbial bus, and we hope that doesn't happen, we do have a couple of reserve things that you and I can do if that takes place. I mean, you're going to look at business in the community, aren't you, if that happens?
Yeah, exactly. I think, again, one of the backups would be to discuss actually the Sunday papers. There's a lot going on in the Sunday papers, in particular on the business section, around different developments in UK businesses. Brexit, currency, obviously impacting lots of businesses in the UK. That could be something that we'll discuss on the day. But given the amount of operational work that's required to actually host Speaker's Corner, ideally, the people we've arranged will turn up, and I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will as well. And I've got a reserve item if we need it to look at, social networks and the way in which we engage people online. And we can talk about that and how that can help engage the community. But hopefully you and I won't be needed. We'll be totally and utterly redundant because everyone will be there on time and it will go ahead. Do you get some sort of sense of satisfaction now that we've got this going and sort of wonder, look, it's going to happen Sunday, it's actually going to take place?
Yes, no, I definitely. And, we're just keeping an eye on the weather forecast, being a festival in a park. It was unpredictable. So far looks good. What I find quite appealing as well is I have access to traffic data on our own website, what people find interesting. And actually, Speaker's Corner is one of the most popular pages to be visited. So I think that bodes well for this format for the festival. And there's definitely lots of interest on social media. People are embracing the festival as a way to connect the community and actually the way for people to really be involved and participate in the discussion. So I'm definitely seeing the activity. We're very excited, and it'll be a very, very big day. Hopefully all goes well.
Yeah, that's news to me, and it really pleases me, surprises me that that's the most active page on the site, and that's fantastic. Anyhow, okay, we're sort of coming to the end of this, so thank you very much for doing this with me, Sof, and for all the work you've done in developing the festival over the years, and especially Speaker's Corner this year. And hopefully that will go successfully, and we can do it year after year and involve more people in this. And this is, this is far from totally perfect because we're just doing it, we're just trying it. But, it's a great to start it, and the best way to start something, I always believe, is to jump into the deep end and do it. And I think that's what we're doing. So that should be great. Okay, so Thank you again, Sof, for doing it. What we'll do is we'll keep posting stuff on our network, social network sites. I'll post the website up so that you can put questions in. You can send questions into Enfield Voices as well, and we'll put those on the site, or we'll make sure they're ready for the day. So, you know, please do that. It starts then at 12:30. You can come to all sessions, so I don't expect you'll stay all day. Some of us have to, but I doubt you'll stay all day. You can come to the sessions that you're really interested in. So just pop in and pop out and go and get some food somewhere, go and see something else, come back, have a look. It should be great fun. So I hope many of you will join us, and it should be a really good day. So it's this Sunday, September the 2nd. Speaker's Corner starts at 12:30 and we end just after 7. Anyhow, thank you all of you for listening, and we hope to see you next Sunday. So bye for now.